Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day, and without any further ado, let's jump right into it. The news today is a bit different. I don't know, we always have those really weird days where a lot of the stuff that ends up coming out ends up being kind of random. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Tim Draper is back in the news today, and how do I say this? A lot of what he's saying sounds a little bit more intense than I think it should be. For those of you not looking at the screen, Tim Draper is now predicting a $250,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. So I think mania has begun to ensue simply because the price predictions earlier this year started out a little bit normal, and now they seem to have completely just hit the wall. The craziest price prediction that we've had thus far came about 4 days ago, where someone said that based off of current information and movements and the 3 to 6 month pattern after Bitcoin has done this, and by the end of the year, we would probably see a $150,000 Bitcoin. That was also a prerequisite for this, was Bitcoin hitting $100,000 3 months after the halving also took place. Tim Draper, for some reason, is throwing out the number $250,000, and I'll chalk it up to excitement. I know that we're all a bit ready for the halving and what it normally brings. However, $250,000 is completely intense. This would then give us a $700,000, $800,000 Bitcoin in 2025, and unless something really crazy and significant has happened and part of the world's economy has completely begun to collapse and people stop using the US dollar, I don't really know. American venture capitalist Tim Draper expects a 3.5x rise in Bitcoin by the end of the year. In a recent interview, the venture capitalist predicted that a Bitcoin could hit 250,000 US dollars by the end of 2024. He said, maybe by the end of this year, if I had to predict, $250,000 end of this year. It is looking pretty good. So, and I'll say this in the nicest way possible. I think people need to chill. I think the expectations of where Bitcoin is going to go have thus far been relatively realistic. You know, if we're at 70 something now, I can totally see 100. Another 6-7 months, I can see 150,000. 250 by the end of this year. We would essentially need BlackRock and Fidelity to join hands, summon Captain Planet, and just absorb as much Bitcoin, like all the remaining Bitcoin, basically. Not saying that it won't happen, but it's more of I think we need to get our priorities and numbers in order. So as always, it's great to see optimism in the market. Cool. Golf clap. It's cool to see that everyone's very excited, but I have a weird inkling in like 15 days, someone's going to get on stage and they're going to say the number's 300,000 by October. And it's going to be like, okay, buddy, reel it in there. That's the Tim Draper news. I don't have to go really any further because I know you see exactly where it's going. During the interview, they were also asking him, you predicted this number as well, like earlier in the year. And he said, Tim Draper said he wasn't expecting political backlash, was what he said. A political backlash against Bitcoin earlier this year, and he thinks that mainly from Gary Gensler, and for those of you who are missing it, a lot of other American politicians who are vehemently against the ETFs. He was like, well, it's their fault that and it's like, okay, Mr. Draper, I don't know what it is. Maybe once you get to like billionaire status, everyone becomes quite eccentric. I don't know what's going on. That's the Tim Draper. $250,000 by the end of this year. It is time to cool it news. Yeah. Let's move on. For those of you who don't know what the halving is going to cut the amount of Bitcoin that comes out of the machine in half. I had to say it. I had to say it for a number of reasons, because whatever is currently, did I scroll down too far? There we go. Whatever's happening now is I'm not really sure. A lot of people, a lot of news outlets are beginning to write about the fact that people are trying to mine Bitcoin before the halving. If you don't understand what I'm trying to say, the articles that are floating around are basically saying, if you're not looking at the screen, Bitcoin's hash rate hit a brand new all-time high on the 11th of April. Why did it do this? Because people who are mining Bitcoin are realizing that the Bitcoin that they're currently mining is going to get cut in half. So they're basically turning on their machines full power to try and get as much Bitcoin as they can out of the machine before the amount gets cut in half. For some reason, this is like a brand new revelation thing for a lot of people are, maybe it's even on this one. Yeah, right there. It says Bitcoin mining spikes ahead of the halving. What's the scoop? People are trying to scoop up more coins before it gets cut in half. So logically, they would be doing this. And the way that these people write these articles, it says, in a riveting turn of events. It literally says the words riveting turn of events. Bitcoin mining recently reached unprecedented levels, hitting 86.39 trillion hashes. That is a lot of hashes ahead of the Bitcoin halving. This primarily aligns with the sudden rise in Bitcoin mining, rushing into mining as many coins as the 2024 halving approaches, resulting in higher hash rates that, in turn, offer higher network security. Yeah, the people who are mining the coins know that the halving is coming, and because the halving is coming, they're trying to mine more Bitcoin, and because they're mining more Bitcoin, people are wondering, and I saw it. I did. People are asking if the people who are mining all the Bitcoin plan on dumping their Bitcoin after that the halving has happened. The idea from those articles is that, well, if they're trying to get so much, maybe they'll have too many. And then when the halving happens, they're like, oh, cool, we can sell these now because we have too many monies. So what normally happens is that they actually don't sell for a while, or selling numbers tend to slide sideways as they tend to sell what is needed to be able to, once again, keep on the electricity. But as the, scarcity increases and the public takes note of the halving, we normally tend to always rise in price to be able to match the amount of money that is needed to be able to create one Bitcoin. And then the miners, I give it, I think it's always like a 3 or something month period around there. It kind of levels off completely so that they're kind of making the same money that they did before, because Bitcoin has normally risen in value. Yeah, a lot lot of articles floating around talking about that the hash rate has risen. Why would it be doing that? Why would people be trying to make more Bitcoin before this? Oh boy, a lot of I guess a lot of interesting news today is the way for it to be said. Yeah. The scoop is people are trying to get more because this event called the halving is ever closer. Ever closer. Very excited for it. I know there's going to be a lot of chaos in the markets. And I mean like literal chaos, because people won't know what to do. People will be taking information from other people. People are going to try and sell the news and sell the dip and buy the hat and all these other things like that. So yeah, that's the Bitcoin. Mining is currently spiking as people know what the halving is. And yeah, let's move on. Also in news, ETFs are buying Bitcoin. What? That's crazy, right? Who would have thunk it? BlackRock's iBit Spot Bitcoin ETF it says has crossed $15 billion in total inflows since setting a new high, or since it began trading on the 11th of January. However, the overall daily inflows for spot ETFs has been decelerating since the 12th of March, when they were only 1.05 billion. Do you know why? Do you know why? Can anyone guess why? Boop, doop, doop, boop. Also, a lot in the news is Grayscale. Doop, doop, boop, boop, boop. Yep, Grayscale is still grayscaling. Boom, boom, where they're still selling off their Bitcoin, and they're also the next major topic that's also currently out there. For whatever reason, a lot of people are shocked that money is still flowing into the ETFs while we see outflows happening. For those of you, for some reason, who missed those 3 videos over the course of a 3-month period, Grayscale is another company who has an ETF. The problem is that they keep their fees extraordinarily high. I have my own theories, is the nice word. Theories as to why this is currently taking place. However, the news that we've been getting is simply that Grayscale is selling and BlackRock is buying. BlackRock's iBit recorded its second largest single daily inflow since the 5th of April, totaling $192.1 million, pushing its total inflows to $15.1 billion, according to Far Side data. Yeah, because Bitcoin's price over the course of the last, that is a terrible sound from the microphone, but from the last, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks, as Bitcoin has been relatively steady, air quotes, people are surprised that money is still flowing into the ETFs. They kind of almost expect, if Bitcoin goes up by only 1% or goes down by 3%, that the ETFs still have any money at all. So no, the ETFs are definitely still buying. It doesn't stop because you don't see Bitcoin's price actually moving. There's a huge concentrated, concerted effort, dare I say, by these larger institutions to try and keep prices exactly where they are because they're trying to buy more. Have ye already forgotten the news that we got about 4 days ago? Apparently there are a number of very large banks who are now going directly to the people who are mining Bitcoin to get Bitcoin from them, because they do not want to buy on crypto exchanges. And it appears that the OTC, over-the-counter markets, are also drying up quite quickly as well. So they have allegedly, they have no other place to go that won't actually trigger a surge in price. Yeah, what? That's crazy. They're still buying. I can't believe it. It's almost like they've been buying the whole time, and that's the BlackRock news. Also in the news as well is, and we had this news 2-3 weeks ago, but it's popping back up again. Also from another source. Cool. Grayscale's chief executive officer, Michael Sonnenschein, recently revealed when his company will reduce his fees on the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust GBTC. The problem is that Grayscale, BlackRock and Fidelity and every other company has fees. They want to make money, and they tend to have fees of 0.5%, if not lower. I believe it was BlackRock and Fidelity and one other company who lowered their fees, I think even to 0%, until they reach a certain threshold, of money. Like literally, like when we make this much money, then we'll actually have a fee. For some reason, Grayscale has a fee of 1.5%. And we heard a couple of weeks ago that they have no intention of actually lowering their fees. That's where I feel like something, tinfoil hatty is kind of there, because I would assume these people maybe know how to make money and no one would keep their fee that high unless someone told them to. If you drift my catch, because there's no reason why anyone would keep their fees that high. So apparently there was an interview at something called the Canaccord Genuity's Digital Asset Symposium. Terrible long name. I don't know why all these names are so long. That apparently they're going to start dropping their fees, and I quote, when the Bitcoin ETF market starts to mature. That's so vague and so ridiculous. I don't exactly even understand what that's supposed to mean. Are you waiting for a year and a half? Are you waiting until your fund has absolutely no money inside of it? Tinfoil hat me for a moment, if you will. I feel like Grayscale got too big for their own good, and other companies who might be more powerful than them probably told them, like, hey, you're going to keep your fees pretty high. And they're like, what? And they're like, no. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, you're going to keep your fees high for a while we also accumulate with lower numbers. Because as far as I can tell, that's not no one. We're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar market that's expecting to hit trillions of dollars. And I mean like the coming months. Second time that Michael Sonnenschein has gone on TV, had an interview somewhere, and said, I think we're going to keep our fees exactly where they are. It smells fishy. And I mean, and I'll tell you in the nicest way possible. Grayscale keeps hitting the news for their selling. A lot of the reasons when you see that the prices, don't and won't skyrocket forever. We will have days, sorry to break it to you, we will have days where prices go down or where they only go up by 1 or 2%. Sorry. The other issue is that whenever this happens, people immediately look to Grayscale's selling and they're like, oh, that's the reason. And everyone kicks up a whole bunch of dust. And for whatever reason that there might be, they're keeping their fees high. And me and you, can do absolutely jack diddly squat about it. So all we can do is not really worry. The inflows to the other ETFs continue to rise. We're getting all this really good news that the German stock exchange is getting ready to list their own spot ETFs. I think there's also something else happening in Canada. We had news about Australia, and also the recent news about Hong Kong as well. So there's a lot of good stuff happening. So, but I think usually people in crypto, maybe even the world, who knows, tend to look for like an answer to why things aren't exactly perfect. And a lot of times they usually will point to Grayscale, especially in these instances. But I think the market will be fine. It doesn't really matter what Grayscale does. So yeah, BlackRock continues buying and Grayscale continues selling. I think they're being told to do so because no one would do that otherwise. But yeah, that's the Grayscale news. Aha. All right. Okay. Let's move on. Also in the news it says high capital investors have been accumulating Bitcoin since the beginning of the year, pushing the token's price to all-time highs. These investment activities can be observed through Bitcoin wallet addresses holding large amounts of crypto known as whales. For whatever the reason might be, whales are being tracked down. That sounds kind of odd saying it that way, but it's kind of, anyway. A lot of people, I don't know why. It's such weird news. It's like people are like looking for signs in things that don't need to necessarily be observed. Oh, that's a great way of saying it. That's actually perfect. It's a great way of saying it. We know that whales have been accumulating, but now people are finding so for those of you not looking at the screen, people are finding where this money's going, and they're finding the actual addresses, not the home, but the wallet addresses of these people, and trying to get other people to figure out where money has been going in and out of these wallets, to try and read the tea leaves of where the cryptocurrency market has been going and is going to be going. We've known that whale activity has been a thing for quite some time. I told you the news was very weird today. I don't know why. It must be something out of whack or something out of alignment, because a lot of it doesn't really make all too much sense. They found a wallet that has 1,308 Bitcoin and just recently on the 7th of April purchased even more. And I don't know, are we supposed to clap or throw a party? I'm not really sure what it is, but this has been happening. Maybe the writers or people out there are relatively new to the market, because we get news like this all the freaking time. We've been talking about that one wallet address that people are naming Mr. 100, but there's also a lot of them. There are other addresses that literally are buying one Bitcoin per day, at the same exact time over and over. Whales are not new. In the grander scheme of things, 1,308 Bitcoin, and I hate to say this out loud, isn't a lot compared to other wallet addresses that we've also seen before. We've been getting news for the past couple of weeks. None of it has been substantiated. None of it, there's no proof, but we keep getting news that there are apparently member states, countries who are currently buying up tons of Bitcoin. And these are some of the addresses that we're also seeing. But once again, until we get actual proof of that, I won't be bringing it here. So we know rich people all over the planet are buying up tons of Bitcoin. We've seen the accumulation. We know that the people who are mining it also aren't really selling it because they want that sweet $1 million Bitcoin for themselves. Grayscale continues to buy. BlackRock is continuing to... Right. You get the idea. So the whale activity is also popular today in the news. Another thing that I sat there and I was like, what? I'm sure that this is happening on purpose. This is at least this is a personal opinion. Coinbase's Ethereum layer 2 blockchain known as Base has experienced a remarkable surge in their total value locked, surpassing $4 billion for the first time. According to something called L2 Beat data, updated on the 7th of April, the Base's total value lock stands at $14.15 billion, representing a significant increase of over 13% in the past week alone. Coinbase and their blockchain Base keep making it into the news. I don't know if these are paid articles. I can't tell you if they are. But how do I say this? Coinbase's activity on their chain is mainly coming from them and other companies who they've been working with, who basically they were like, hey, can you please use our chain? Coinbase's Base is trying to become Ethereum and Polygon. That's basically what it comes down to. We had news just a couple of days ago, for those of you who are not here, that Coinbase is also moving a large amount of the Circle coin, the stable coin, who they worked with the company Circle with, also to basically be on the Base chain as well. And also, I think for people who are also locking up, I forgot exactly what it is. People who are locking up their coins or staking. I don't know exactly what the thing is, but they're also moving those to Base as well, because it increases the amount of money that's locked in the system. So you can say, hey, look at how much money we have locked in the system. And also the amount of people who are using it to increase the transactions. You can say, hey, look how many transactions that we have. I don't think many people are even really using Base at this point. It's definitely not. I still think it's quite cringy for those of you who weren't here for that video, where the people from there was a competition being held by Binance asking people to put meme coins onto their chain to basically have it be used more. And Base is also trying to do the exact same thing. They're trying to get the young, cool, hip stuff happening in the market onto their chain. Everything that we're nearly seeing from Coinbase, once again, I go over daily news. There have been no major companies outright who have announced that we're using Base. There have been no other existing cryptocurrency companies who are like, hey, we're now using Base. My assumption is that it's Coinbase locking in value from somewhere else into Base and saying, hey, there's money up locked in here now. People can use it. They have back-end partnerships with other companies who we don't know, who have, signed agreements with them saying, hey, we're only going to use Base for our activities. So they can also, something really weird is happening with it. They're trying to create a lot of publicity to get people to think that people are using it when no one's really using the Base chain at all. So yeah, once again, back in the news since the last 2 months, constantly popping up, is that Coinbase's Base, terrible name, is seeing more usage every single day, and I do not think that it actually is. That's the Coinbase news. Moving along. And in, I guess, maybe, sure, why not, popular news as well. The website Crypto is once again in the news. Global digital asset exchange Crypto.com is gearing up to launch their retail trading services in South Korea on the 29th of April. According to a recent announcement, for those of you who didn't know, South Korea used to control a huge amount of the cryptocurrency market. They have a strong hold on the market. They really like crypto there. And basically everyone's trying to, this website is not the first one. Everyone's trying to get their paperwork in to be able to do work once again in South Korea and in China, because they haven't been able to do so over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, kind of. Because the government was making brand new cryptocurrency rules and regulations. Imagine that, right? Regulating crypto. And now they're finally doing it. I forgot what other company announced the same exact thing around 2 weeks ago. It was another cryptocurrency company who's also getting ready. But Crypto, the website, is doing it on the 29th of April, just a little bit after the halving, because they're expecting that really strong trading volume to pick back up. So we've been getting a good sprinkle of South Korea, Hong Kong, and sometimes Japan news recently. It's because there's a lot of money in Asia, so they want to make sure that they capture it. Yeah, I do think that's going to do it for this video. I told you it was going to be a bit of a weird one early on. A lot of the news out there today was just kind of completely all over the place. I appreciate the optimism when it comes to prices and stuff like that, but we have to remain realistic when it comes to a lot of these things right now. But yeah, I think it's gonna do it for this video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.